Hi, welcome back to our YouTube channel, Fulfill the Game of Life.
I'm Richard.
And I'm Christy.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome aboard. And if you're a returning viewer and you like the continuously bad humor and delays in videos, we're your team.
Yes.
Well, look, let's start with a few things. First of all is we're still in Italy. We're approaching only 3 days remaining until we're back in the car and we're on our way back to Portugal.
Yes, it's the countdown and we are incredibly excited to get back to Portugal.
And in this video, we're going to tell you what our impressions have been since we've been in Italy, and you'll start to understand why we're so much more excited to get back to Portugal. So let's start with announcing this is the first time we've made a video since we've reached 1,000 subscribers. We're so excited to be at 1,000 subscribers. We really appreciate you guys clicking the subscribe button because we are now monetized. And we want to tell you how much we earned in our first day of being monetized. It's unbelievable. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
50 cents. The first day of monetization, 50 cents. And by the way, that's higher than the following days of monetization since we haven't made any subsequent videos. But just so you know, all of you guys' efforts of watching our videos managed to pay for
a bathroom break at a gas station.
Went to the gas station on the trip and it was 50 cents. Yes. 50 cent euro. I'm not sure what they call it. 50.50 euro to go use the bathroom. So monetization is really paying off for us. We don't know if we'd have made it into that bathroom stall without your help.
Thank you.
Now, the one thing we did do, which we don't do very often, is we did have a celebratory dinner for hitting 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, we did.
That is a lot of fried food, isn't it? That's crazy. Looks fantastic. Bon appetit.
Tutto bene?
Yes.
So that was nice to be able to get out and just really celebrate our accomplishments and getting to the 1,000 viewers. And there's no doubt Richard has for certain put in so much time, so much effort in creating, you know, the content of what we're going to talk about and the editing. And so
we both have. Thank you for that. But look, we went out to dinner. We actually spent a bit more money than we usually do, which, by the way, when you're in Italy, you're going to find out it's a lot easier to spend money than it is in Portugal. But as you can see here on the footage, we had a very beautiful dinner. We want to thank you for that. You didn't really help pay for it because it was only 50 cents. We spent that at the bathroom. But it still felt really good, and we had a really nice dinner here in Italy. So again, thank you guys for coming along on the journey, and we hope to continue to grow the channel. So picking up as well, you may have noticed that it has been almost exactly 2 weeks since we actually made a video. This is by far the longest stint that we went without making a video, and we wanted to take a minute to explain kind of why.
Okay, we actually needed to take a break because our schedule was so hectic with the traveling and then getting the video content ready and produced and edited. So we were just burnt out, trying to reach our goal, and we just needed a break.
Yeah, we're completely exhausted. As we showed you in those final 4 videos, how much road travel we did, how much footage we did. And then we traveled 25 hours worth of driving across 4 countries to get here in Italy. And we're not exaggerating, we spent 13 days locked in the room finishing the videos. So by the end of that, we were literally like, this is not retirement. This is another full-time job.
It really felt like it.
It really did.
Hopefully you guys really enjoyed those last 2 videos that, not that the other videos didn't take up a whole lot of time. These last 2 really, we spent a lot of time and a lot of care just to really produce it in we enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did too.
Yeah, but it was draining on us. So we finally just said, look, we met monetization, we met our goal, and we're just exhausted. So let's slow down. Let's go do just a little bit of our own kind of European vacation in Europe. And we're going to make some videos from that. But just so you know, we're back and we are excited to get some more video content out to you guys. So let's just get started with this video. We want to give you our impressions of Italy. We've been here for a little over 3 weeks, and we've seen some really interesting things that we'd like to kind of contrast and compare to Portugal. Before we give you the impressions of Italy, we do want to talk about the trip here a bit.
That was a really long drive and so many people on the road. I really wasn't that aware that a lot of the European countries take the month of August off, and there was just so many people on the road. It was just a mass exodus, it felt like.
Yeah, we actually mentioned this in the final video, I believe, but it's worth hearing this 2 or 3 or 4 more times. This is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we've been driving for probably 7.5 hours today through France. This is the worst experience, not only driving in Europe, this is probably the worst experience in my life. What you saw right there on the camera, it has been 8 hours of Atlanta-style traffic, 5 or 6 true traffic jams, and then we can see traffic jams backing up on the other side, and they last for miles. 10, 12 miles worth of traffic jams. And then when you go to a major cross, you look the other way, and it's a major traffic jam. It's just not pleasurable. Do not get in a hurry. Avoid France or by the way, the toll roads, the tolls are unbelievable. I think up to the moment now we've already stopped at 8 or 9 different toll booths today alone, and it's approaching, I'll do the official calculation, but it's approaching at least $80 worth of tolls in an 8-hour period. Backups, continuous traffic, and $80 worth of tolls. We are going to strangle somebody. If you can plan to not be in a car in the month of August, do it. It is totally worth the effort. That not only the trip here, but we've been here through the month of August. We went kind of on a couple of day trips as well. And when they say, Europe basically takes vacation in the month of August, they're not exaggerating. Obviously, every place doesn't shut down.
No, a lot of the more touristy areas, they're obviously going to keep going, and that's what we found. So
yeah, restaurants are still open, that type of thing, but they do take vacation, and the traffic was horrendous. It was horrendous getting here, but it's basically anytime we went to touristy type of areas, it was pretty bad there as well. So just be aware, August is no joke, a travel month for Europeans, and plan around it if possible. Stay in your room. It'll be much more pleasurable the other 11 months traveling around. That's our 2 cents on it. The other thing is this, a little bit of a story I thought was pretty captivating for me through my years in corporate America. One of the things that I found most entertaining when I met people that were not from the United States, and I got to know them at dinner conversation, I would ask, what were your impressions of the United States before you got here, and how is the United States different now that you're here? And of course, that would open up lots of conversation, but the main general theme response to that was simply, when I picture America, I picture what I see on television, which is typically what I saw in the movies, the New York City, the Hollywood, and the big cities. And once you get to America, if you hold that impression of America, once you get there, it's almost nothing like that. The big cities make up less than 0.1% of the land mass in all of America. It's farmlands, it's trees, it's forest, it's miles and miles of highway, and that's just what it really looks like. And of course, you can get to the big cities and live what you picture, but it's not that way as a general population. Well, lo and behold, if that wasn't the same impression I had, for Europe. When you're in America and you picture Europe, what do you picture?
You picture cities that are a lot more populous, like a
London
big city.
and Paris.
Right, exactly.
And Barcelona.
Exactly. So as we were driving, we saw so many farms, tons of farms with sunflowers and grapes, grape vineyards, cornfields. Just
yeah. So here's kind of the takeaway from that. If you get in a car to drive from Portugal to Italy, and let's just say Venice, Italy, because we're only 45 minutes, an hour from Venice, right? So if you get in a car to drive across these three countries to get here, and you're excited because you think you're going to see, like we did in Portugal, we made the videos of how many things there were to see in a small area, right? That was the whole 4 road trips for us, no more than 4-hour drive radius, and we had all these things to see. So I get in the car to head to Italy, and all I'm thinking is we're going to see castle after castle as we go through Spain and we go through France and we go through Italy. We're just going to see so much. And it was a significant letdown of what you're actually going to see. What you're actually going to see, as Christy just mentioned, is farmland. And you're going to see that 90% of your trip across the countries following the road paths that we'll show you here is unremarkable. There's very little to see. There is the occasional massive kind of fortress, but it's separated by 6 hours worth of driving. So it was just a long drive.
It was a long drive.
With a lot of traffic.
If you really love just looking at the countryside with grass and rolling hills and farmland, you're going to
get plenty of that. You're going to get plenty of that. But the number of sunflowers is remarkable, actually.
It was through Spain.
Yeah, it looked like the primary crop, and there were sunflowers everywhere. So we assume, please comment below and tell us, but we assume that they'll use the sunflower seeds to convert to a type of oil to sell to the public, because we know that many people don't eat sunflower seeds. There are that many crops of sunflowers. So.
I actually haven't seen any sunflower seeds like you do
sale.
in the U.S. for sale.
But they grow them like crazy.
I'm craving sunflower seeds.
So it must be sunflower oil. Maybe goes into canola oil or something like that. So keep your expectations low when you hit the car to come across the middle of these countries. It's just nothing like Portugal was for us. Now, that being said, there is a stretch where we got close to the coast. We stayed overnight in Nice, Italy. And once you get close to the coast, it is beautiful. And there are some sites worth seeing. It gets a bit more mountainous. Yep. But keep your expectations low. Know that you're on a long trip if you're going to do this, and you will eventually arrive at your destination like Rome or Venice, which is fascinating, but the trip there, keep your expectations low. One thing on top of the massive amount of traffic that took the general road trip to Italy from bad to worse is tolls. What is this, our 11th freaking toll road? The tolls are at a level, in my opinion, and I'm going to give you my opinion here, tolls bother me even in the United States, because tolls are essentially this from my perspective. The government takes your taxes, builds your roads, and then forces you to pay to use your roads. This would be akin to me saying, I want your money to build your house, and when you move into your house, I want you to pay me while you live in your house. I find that mentally offensive. And lo and behold, when we came across these 3 countries, the tolls, there are tolls up the East Coast in America, of course, and there are tolls up the West Coast in America, but the general roads in America, down south where we were, and even across the country, there are no tolls. The interstates are completely open. Well, that's not the case here.
No.
But not only did they have tolls here, they were at a level that I'm not exaggerating when I say they were offensively expensive tolls. Across the 4 countries, but much less tolls in Portugal. They're there, but they're not so costly. But across the 3 countries of Spain, France, and Italy, the tolls totaled up one way to close to, and we're not precise here because you had to pay them so often, but the tolls totaled up to around 120 to 130 euros to drive across. That's without the fuel. That's just the tolls. I find that offensive, frankly. And if you're from one of these countries and you're listening to this, you should be pretty upset that your government would basically extort you. I'll probably have to cut all this out, but would basically extort you traveling on the roads that they use your money to build to start with. So that being said, be very aware that you will pay almost as much in tolls coming across the countries as you will in gasoline. The second part to that is you're thinking, well, I can take the road paths that avoid the tolls.
But that makes the drive probably
easily twice as long.
Right.
If you pull it up on Google Maps and you avoid toll roads, the travel is just so slow that a 24-hour trip across the four countries would turn into a 50-hour trip. I'm not exaggerating. So you're kind of captive. If you're going to drive in Europe, be very aware the tolls are there and they're obscenely expensive. One toll booth, it shocked us, was one toll after we traveled a while, but was like 24 euro at one toll booth. And that's offensive, frankly. But that being said, I paid an awful lot in tolls to see an awful lot of farmland, so I feel like a sucker. And thank you for listening to that rant. And I can't wait to pay all those tolls to at least get back to Portugal, where we don't have to pay so much for food.
And welcome to the Richard Rant Show.
Thank you. Sorry about that, but there's a lot of emotion behind that. Now, jumping in perfect lead off into food in Italy.
Pasta, pasta, pasta.
Everywhere is pasta. The grocery stores were just literally there were two long rows of variations of pasta.
That was funny. You're overwhelmed with the types of pasta. You're like, what? Can I just have some spaghetti, please? The spaghetti. So, but that was also the case with the vinegar, the balsamic vinegar, you name it. They have all kinds of vinegar. And the same thing with the olive oil. Richard probably got annoyed with me standing in front of the aisle because he went to go grab a few other groceries and I'm still standing there in front of the olive oil. And I was like, well, you pick it. He was like, doop, doop, doop. This one looks good. I'm like, but there's lemon, there's, other infused ones, and then the price points, and
pasta, vinegar, and olive oil.
Yeah.
It's here.
Oh, spaghetti sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti
Yep.
sauce. There was a lot of different kinds of...
A lot of choices for spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
So I will say one of the things that an American might picture of Italy is pizza and spaghetti and pasta.
Yeah.
You would be spot on. The vast majority of restaurants here literally say pizza.
Yeah.
In the name of it, it's just that's what to expect here.
Yeah.
If you come here and hopefully enjoy it. And we do, by the way, we enjoy pasta, spaghetti, and pizza.
I love it. But just like if you were to go to Mexico, you see tacos everywhere. So, you know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So our perception held up in that case.
It did.
Now, what was a bit more shocking was the cost of the food.
Oh my gosh, it was so much more expensive, and I think that's part of the reason why we're looking forward to getting back to Portugal.
Yeah, the cost somewhere in the ballpark, and we're a little bit hesitant, frankly, to put our cost of living file together. We do track it, but they're big numbers this month, really big numbers.
Huge.
With the tolls and the gas. And then the staying, kind of in the middle. We didn't just stay a month. We couldn't drive 24 hours straight, so we had more
stops along
the way and
yeah.
hotels at night and those types of things. So it's been an expensive month.
Which cost more when they're just 1 night, 2 night stays.
Yep. But as a general rule, the cost of going out to eat here is 2 times Portugal. Sometimes it was 2.5 times Portugal. I don't think there was one time that it was less than Portugal. We did go to a steakhouse for 3 people. Looking at it, I assume it's one of the higher end steakhouses in the area. But for 3 people, was over €100 for 3 people. So $120 worth of steak, and it wasn't that good.
No.
So just kind of be prepared. If you're going to come here, this is not the low cost of living that you come to expect while you're in Portugal. The food has been good, not great, but pretty expensive. Another thing that you would hold as an impression of Italy, if you live in America, at least for us, is Italian sausage. You know, we've talked about it multiple times, how much I love the sausages and love to try them out. So I have a mental picture of what Italian sausage was going to be like when we came to Italy.
And it's only the American version of Italian sausage, you know. So, yeah, when we went to the store, Richard had gotten a couple of different kinds of sausages, and when I started cooking it, I was like, this does, I smell the food every time I cook it. I'm just, you know, I do that. And I wasn't quite certain that it was going to taste very good because, I don't know, I didn't enjoy the smell too much. But when I tasted it, it was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The sausage that we bought in the store here, that looks like sausage, right? About the same size as you'd see Italian sausage in America, tasted nothing like Italian sausage. Now, there is, you know, understand that we just tried the one sausage. The sausage, the Italian sausage per se, it had none of the same spices that Americans put in, quote, Italian sausages. So the caraway seed flavor that you get from American Italian sausage didn't taste like it at all. For us, it really was kind of more just salty pork, and it was not over flavored, but it was really good. We ate an awful lot of the grocery store. We assumed to be Italian sausage. Really, really good.
It could just be breakfast sausage. Who knows? But it's yummy.
It was really good. We ate a ton of it, honestly. A couple other things we want to talk about before we kind of talk about our worst experiences. Number one is, as we've told you before, we love going to the movies. And the local movies did have, on a couple of occasions, the English-speaking movie. And we did go see those, which was awesome. However, we've struggled to find any movies in the following 2 weeks at the theaters with English-speaking dialogue. So, you know, that's kind of a letdown. We love to do that as a stress reliever, to just go out, pick up dinner, and watch the movies. Maybe one out of every 25 shows at the theater will be English-speaking in one theater at one time, and you come to that one, or you don't see them at all. So that is a difference from Portugal, and we love the fact that Portugal plays the movies in the native language that they were filmed in, which really helps us English-speaking Americans, right? The second thing is the story of the haircut.
That was funny.
You might have noticed I got a haircut. Not just one haircut, by the way. I got all of the hairs cut. Every one of them. They cut all of my hair. So that didn't quite go as planned. We go around. We're looking for places to get a haircut. We finally trip across in the mall a guy who had an opening who would cut my hair. And I knew, because I didn't speak the language, I'm prepared for this, and this is super easy to communicate. I will pull up a picture of a haircut and show him the picture and say, I want it to look like this. I had pulled up a picture of Ryan Reynolds that had the haircut about the way that I want. It's like, look, just take my hair, cut it a little bit shorter, leave it basically the way that it is. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So I go sit in the barber chair, and I show him the picture, and I point at the picture, and I'm like, I want it to look like this. I assume that he understands. Then he pulls the clippers out, and he actually shows me the guards on the clipper, the different layers of cutting your hair short. And I told him in the United States, I get a number 4. And he literally, no joke, he pulls up the guard, and he's like, there were a thing holding 3 guards, so he points at the one guard that is about right. I said, yeah, that's about right. And I'm thinking, we got this. He'll cut my hair close enough. It's not a big deal. It'll grow back. I'm not going to worry too much about it. So I sit there, and I don't pay attention to him too close. And the first time that buzzer hits the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty darn sure I'm not going to look like that picture.
It was so funny. I felt so bad for him. I had left him there to go and look to see if I could find a shop to get my nails done. I wasn't successful with that, so I had walked around the entire mall. I come back, I look in the window to see, to make sure he's still there, and I look at him, and I just gasped. I'm like, oh, Oh my, has he seen his head? He's probably going to be pretty upset. It
Oh
was
my goodness gracious. Well, so two sides of me. One is it'll grow back. I don't work for a living. But number two, it is. I showed you a picture. We agreed on the one that you were going to use on the back of my head, and you scalped me. You literally cut off all my hair from here
it's a
down.
military cut.
That's
I was like, sir, yes, sir.
it was brutal. It's
Oh my
absolutely
gosh.
brutal. And here, you see how short that is, and it's already been a week. I mean, literally. So pictures are not worth 1,000 words to this guy, apparently. The picture was worth 0 words. He was going to do what he wanted to do. So I now have a beautiful haircut that I have to grow back.
And then he had a specific style of cutting hair.
Oh, and he was animated, actually.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed his job. He'd kind of throw his hand around like this. He'd snip it like this, and he'd throw his hand, and he was entertaining to watch as he scalped me. It was it was quite the experience.
Oh, snickers.
But anyway, my hair, what do you do?
You won't need a haircut for another 2 months.
Or 3.
Maybe.
Maybe. So anyway, experience lived, first haircut in Europe. And we'll see what we do when we're in Portugal. So let us spend a minute telling you the experiences we've had here in Italy that really haven't been that pleasant.
No. The one thing that we experienced in trying to find a public notary, because we had some documents that we had to get notarized, was calling around to a few places. Now, granted, during this off month with people on vacation, there was about 4 or 5 different places.
There were 5 listed on Google Maps.
Yeah.
And 4 were closed.
Yes.
So we're left with only one to track down, right?
Exactly. And what happened was calling around to some of these places for help, whether you're trying to find a notary or I was trying to find some place for a haircut for Richard and then to get my nails done. What I experienced was that initially I would ask in English, do you speak English? And maybe I could have used a different method and spoken that in Italian, but the minute I asked that, they immediately hung up. So that was a bit frustrating to not get someone that was helpful on the other end.
Yeah, that honestly it really is disappointing. We didn't experience these types of things when we were in Portugal, but I want to give it a little bit more color with a little bit more trying to understand both perspectives, but to still understand that when we start sentences with "Do you speak English?" and they hang up, that's just not a mutual respect thing to do. Even if you don't speak the language, people never did that to us in Portugal. So we were a little taken back by that. But it give you a couple other things with this as well. As we mentioned, 4 out of 5 notaries were closed, so 1 was open. Now, on the positive side, I had 2 wonderful Italian ladies who helped me out. They picked up the phone and they called this notary. And the first lady, obviously I couldn't understand what they were saying, but the first lady hung up the phone and looked at me and said in English, not a very good lady. So she must have been, that notary must have been very direct. And online, on the Google reviews as well, there were a couple of notes that she was kind of rude. But I still needed a notary so bad. So I literally show up 2 mornings at 9 a.m. to catch her, right at the beginning. And I'm sitting outside. Once again, the doors weren't open on time, and I didn't know if it was just locked, it was a scan-in, whatever the case may be. So an Italian lady walks up, and she, once again, very pleasant, and she helps me. And she says, do you have the phone number? So she calls the lady, and they spend a minute and a half talking in Italian. And I do hear her specifically say Americano, and she looks at me and nods her head, so confirming that I was American. And after a minute and a half of talking to each other in Italian, the lady who's helping me looks at me and just simply says, "She's closed." Now, it doesn't take much to read in between the lines to say it doesn't take, a minute and a half, 90 seconds worth of dialogue to figure out whether you're closed or not. Just reading between the lines, she didn't want to help. She may have been influenced by the fact that I was American. She didn't know me personally, but it's what we experienced here, it just doesn't make you feel welcome. And I know this is a general statement, so I want to be really careful here if you're Italian, because I met people that helped me. So make no mistake, we appreciate the kindness of the people who helped us, but Italy and Americans, at least toward us in this general region, was not helpful, really suffered from just a lack of mutual respect, and we're disappointed with it. Now, trying to understand the other side, because that's what good people do. That's mutual respect is built by understanding both perspectives from where we're at. And we do understand this military base close. And we do know that if there's a group of people that's most likely to offend another group of people, it is adolescent young men. And we understand that. We just remarked on the walk around here, there was someone here staying in the general vicinity playing American music at a really high volume for many, many hours. Yep. Over the time we're here. So
late into the night as well, which I considered incredibly disrespectful to the neighbors surrounding this small village, because it's like an apartment building here.
Yeah, so I don't know if you tuned in to really hear this, and we don't want to be overly negative, but you do understand it gives us another reason to enjoy Portugal, and to know that there is a difference in cultures. To understand the Italian side, we can rationalize that there probably is reason to be frustrated with Americans. But even if I were frustrated with Italians and they were in America, I wouldn't hang up on them. And I find that offensive. It's still second on the list to paying these disgusting levels of tolls going across these three countries. So it is what it is. Now, with the bad part to the side, we do want to kind of spend a little bit of time telling you about COVID. We get questions on occasion about how COVID is treated different in the countries. So
what we've experienced here in Italy is, as of August 6th, they apparently the government did mandate for people to provide their vaccination cards as proof that they had their vaccines in restaurants, to be able to sit down at a restaurant, even at the mall. If you're going to sit down at one of the little restaurants inside the mall, you also had to provide that. As well as going to the movies, we had to write our names down on a list after providing our vaccination card. So that they did get a lot more strict about that. However, during the traveling we did through Austria,
almost no one wore a mask in Austria.
No.
Less than 5% of the population in Austria, and we stayed for 2 days, so we saw a lot of people. But the moment you cross the border into Germany,
they did require masks, and if you were going on any kind of tour, they required a specific kind of mask, and it looked like the N95 masks.
Yeah, and they were clear. And it was just the opposite of Austria. 5% of the people wore it in Austria, and in Germany, 5% of the people didn't wear it, and just straight over the border. So that's kind of a general look at how COVID is being treated across the three countries that we've been in. We do have 2 videos coming where we're going to show you our 2-day trips. And one of those is with Italy sites and Slovenia.
And yes.
Which neither one of us had been to, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the other one?
Austria,
which was fantastic. The trip to Salzburg was fantastic. We can't wait to get that footage to you guys. So if you like catching up with us here a little bit, we apologize for the delay. We thank you for the 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, thank you so much.
It's freaking awesome. I think we've made a total of almost $2.50.
So far.
Almost $2.50. So we don't have to worry about going to the bathroom on the trip back. But We do want to thank you again for coming back to watch us. If you like this video,
please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.
And otherwise, we'll see you soon with 2 more videos that a bit more like the ones in the past, and a little less talking and a lot more visuals. So thank you guys for coming along, and
we look forward to providing you guys more content of our absolutely adventurous life that we are loving.
Without reading.
Ciao.
Ciao. Have a good one.